Happy Friday morning to you. We made it through the end of the week. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy here, bringing you another update. Sorry, it's a little late. It's in the morning. Had to change some things on my charts. Wanted to make sure they played out so you guys get the most accurate and up-to-date information. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2025. It's about 8:15 Texas time. We'll break into those charts in a minute, but if you're liking these videos, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification. You'll get notifications as soon as we drop a video, and leave us some comments. What do you think? What's your plans this weekend? I don't care, leave something. It helps the algorithm and it gets us out to more people. So also, this video is not for financial advice. It is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Use caution when investing in crypto. You could lose all of your money. So before we get into the charts and everything else, wanted to talk to you a little bit. I've kind of struggled this week, not gonna lie. Had a great last week, and over the weekend, caught the dip. We did really well, and then I've kind of sat this week. Things just weren't playing out the way I thought they should. So when it gets to that point, it's just like anything else. You go get help. You go talk to somebody, get an outside opinion, even from your buddies. I listen to my buddies, and they were right, but sometimes it's still hard to get out of that bias. So I got an outside opinion and it worked. And now my charts are right. I don't think we're going as low as I initially thought. When we get into the charts, you'll see Elliott wave theory there's a minimum requirement on a retracement, and I think we hit those on the weekly, and I think that's where we're probably done. But we'll go through the charts all the way from the weekly down to the 4 hour, get a good look. Let's move on to the crypto fear and greed index. There you go. We're sitting at a 57. I think we were around 41 at the beginning of the week. So we're coming up, still in neutral, but we're starting to get into greed. So we'll want to keep an eye on that. You go to the liquidation heat map, Bitcoin got a big pocket of liquidity sitting up at around 121,000. We're right in this pocket at 120. And then you've got some more down here, 118 all the way down to 115, which is really where I think we're going to grab before we go up and grab this. I think we get a correction over the weekend, and then we kind of start thinking about our upside targets and maybe going into this bigger run. I went ahead and put an ETH heat map on here with alts kind of starting to look like they're ready to kind of move north. It's probably important to watch Ethereum as well. You can see we're dropping down, going down to grab this lower liquidity, probably 4,400, and there's liquidity all the way down to 43 to 3,800. Crypto bubbles mixed bag today. I don't know what 2Z is, but it's red. ETH is up. MYX is down. You see, it's just kind of a mixed bag. Looks like some of the alts are trying to do well. Memes are a mixed bag. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So let's move on to the charts. Here we go. Bitcoin on the weekly. Had to go back last night. I completely wiped all my charts, completely cleaned them off, started over. Went to what I was taught, went to what I know, and here's where we are. Kind of gave it last night just to make sure everything's going to verify, to make sure I was absolutely right. And yeah, I think we're in a good spot. So you can see on the weekly, we've completed 3 waves, or we're working on completing this 3rd wave, somewhere realistically 160, 190,000. What I think right now is we're working on our wave 4 retracement. We're kind of flat here. This thing should finish out. We'll break it down in the lower charts. But my next target I want to look at is around 160 to 190,000. There's a possibility we break somewhere in this half to 618. But when we get down to these lower time frames, you'll understand. Going down to the daily. Reset this chart. There we go. All right, going down to the daily. Completed 5 waves since back in late February. Actually, we haven't completed 5 waves. We completed wave 3, worked down to 4. Now we're starting on 5. So what's happening here is you'll see this on the 4 hour. We've kind of hit a point of resistance. I think we're coming down to retest somewhere around 115. I put these invalidation lines on here. So the 4 hour chart, invalidation should be, actually the daily validation is correct. We're going to move it up just a little bit. And I'll tell you why I have these marked. In Elliott wave theory on corrections, wave 4 cannot breach the peak of wave 1. So your daily invalidation would be somewhere in this area here, somewhere around $100,000. If we drop below 100,000, then we're really looking for a bigger correction and a bigger 5-wave impulse. You'll see on the 4-hour, I don't think we're going to hit that. 4-hour invalidations here at about 114.8. I think that's probably going to be our good stopping point before we move on up to this upper target of $128,000 to $137,000. Like I said, 4 hours is going to verify this for us. Reset the chart view. Move this over. Now you can really see what's going on. We've broken that move down all the way from the weekly to really understand where we are. Looks like on the 4-hour, we've completed wave 3, moving down to wave 4. I've got a target mark somewhere between $116,000 to $114,000. Top of wave 1 sits at 114.8. You can drop into this and then rebound out of it to not invalidate. But with a fair value gap there, I don't really see it doing that. Your 50 and your 200 moving averages are moving up, and by the time we get there, they're going to be in this pocket that we're looking at. Elliott wave requirements are minimum on a correction of a 382, so that puts us right there, and that's really what happened on the weekly. We went down, tapped the 382, and bounced off of it. So the 382.5 in a bullish scenario is a good target, somewhere around 115,650. Then we'll kind of go up from there. So that gives you an idea on Bitcoin. Moving on to Ethereum, we'll get everything loaded here. I want to remind you, these charts are all in the crypto school. You'll find a link to that school in my description. Such a great place to hang out. Such a great place to learn. Check it out. Some amazing coaches. Coach Lewis and Coach Leisurefish are really the ones that were like, hey, something's not right with your charts. And they tried to explain. I had a hard time seeing because I trade different than they do. But at the end of the day, I knew their targets were probably right, and I needed to figure out how I could get there myself. All right, going out to the weekly, completed 5 waves up until about July, made that big ugly correction back in December, January, February. Now we're in our new weekly impulse. Finished 3 waves. Retracing to 4. This actually went down to the 382. That's what invalidated this fair value gap. There's always a possibility we could come all the way down to 2,700. I don't see that happening. But then we're going to make a move. And these are rough estimates, guys, but we're looking at about $8,000 to $10,000 realistically. When we get down to the bottom of where we're retracing here, I can get some really accurate targets on assumptions on that move. Moving down to the daily. Completed 5 waves since April. At our ABC correction, that's the big short that we caught. And you can see we bounced off of these 382s. So we met minimum requirements for Elliott wave theory. Now we're heading up. Looks like probably a wave 1 on the daily. Before we come down, retest, and put in wave 3. So yeah, pretty bullish, guys. Looking good. I'm happy. Honestly, kind of excited. Glad I didn't miss this. It could have gone ugly real fast. And going out to the 4-hour, tells the same story. Came up to the half, 45.58. Now we're in our retest. Got this retest. 4-hour invalidation is going to fall right in this fair value gap. And so I think that's a pretty good target. I've got the 382 marked. Somewhere around $4,200 to $4,100. I think that's a good bounce point. It's probably going to be this 4-hour smooth moving average, the 50. Then we're going to head on up to this other target, $4,600, $4,700. I think we start there, and then as we go up, you're looking at $5,100 to $5,400. Good trade. Moving on to XRP. We'll go to the weekly chart first. Running a little slow this morning, kind of like me. Actually, I had a good morning. Got up out of bed early, got in the charts, had my coffee. Good morning. Good way to start. Read my Bible last night. Said a little prayer for some wisdom. It's been a good week, even though I've been kind of off. Okay, moving on the weekly. This is the first time I've ever looked at this XRP chart and felt like I have it mapped correctly. This big move has thrown me off since the beginning of time. I didn't really know what was going on, but once I got some help, it all started to make sense. Completed 5 waves off the big move in December. January, February. Bleed out was our correction. I still think this is all a wave 1. It could be a wave 2 if somebody feels different. Talk to me about it. I'm willing to listen. But it puts us in our upper targets, 460 to 516, with a possibility up to 672, 784. Moving on to the daily chart. See a little bit of a red candle. We're getting rejected to do our correction. We've been in a wave 4 on the daily since probably August, and it's all just made this big bull pennant or descending channel, whatever you want to call it. Gets us to the same place. I've got the 4-hour and daily invalidations marked on this correction. You can kind of see where we need to go. Daily could probably come down just a little lower, maybe below this fair value gap. So what I'm looking for is a retracement somewhere down. Let me go ahead and pull a fib on this, kind of give you an idea of where this retracement might go and what I'm looking at. We pull a fib here. 1 second. Where's the bottom of that? There it is. We'll go ahead and pull it down to the bottom here. And you can see we made our 382. But our half is right here at equilibrium. I say that that's a 4-hour invalidation, but I think that's where we're going to bounce. Like I said, it can drop down, bounce back up. Then we're going to head to our upper targets, 376, $4, on up to 490 to 551. 4 hours going to show us where our correction is and where it's going to finish. Here we go. This over. There we go. 5 waves completed. Working on our 4-hour correction. This is A. That's probably B. Move on down to C. 382 to the half. 295 to 290. Could go down to 285, but from there, I think we bounce and we just head on up to those upper targets. 312 to 321 on the 4-hour before we see some kind of small correction again. Go back to the weekly. Moving on to Solana. Nice cool morning in Texas, about 65 degrees. Supposed to get up to around 90 today. Be kind of warm, but it'll feel good. Supposed to be a beautiful weekend. Got a lot going on. A lot of ranch work. Gonna ride some horses. Might go to a jackpot roping. Be fun. All right, Solana on the weekly. Kind of see what we've got going on here. Weekly invalidation sits at that yellow line somewhere around $190. If for something were to happen that we broke that line, we're probably going to look at 117. It's going to get ugly. That's why I said I don't think it's going to happen. Completed wave 3 down to wave 4, finished wave 5 somewhere around 377, 431 with a possibility of 587 to 698. Moving down to the daily, we'll start understanding this correction that we're working through. It is a correction, but it's small, guys. No doom and gloom today. I'm bullish for the first time since I've started filming these videos, and that's a good thing. All right, completed our 5 waves, working on our retracement right here. One could argue, no, this is right. Yeah, I like it. Completed 5 waves, 382 to the half, 215 to 203. You can see our weekly invalidations here, if that's a wave. But our daily invalidation will go to the body of this candle, not the wick. Daily invalidation. Let me go ahead and just put that on there. These have been really good visuals to me, because you can't drop below the top of wave 1. 207 to 215 really looks like the good target on the daily. If you go out to the 4-hour, it's going to just verify what we're looking at on the daily chart. 5 waves completed on the 4-hour. Target's 218 to 207. I really like 213 here. I think that's a viable target. Again, 4-hour invalidations around 205. Fits into all of our other things. Yeah, I like it, guys. Then we'll head up to this top target before we see another correction, 207 to 291. If we do lose these lines, we're looking at around 178 to 163, but then I think we're in an even bigger pullback, and that would be into the bull market stuff, which I don't think we are. I never thought we were. I had an argument for it Wednesday night. I had a really long call with Leisurefish about it. We spent 3 hours on the Bitcoin chart just looking. Great question he asked me, and something to keep in mind. If it goes wrong, where could it go? And it really resonated with me. It really stuck with me. And we spent 3 hours. He has a pretty good idea. I just couldn't see it. So I went and got help. I went and got something from an outside that has an unbiased opinion that doesn't know anything about my trading other than he wants to help. Paid a little money to have it done, but it's going to be worth it in the end. All right, Ada on the weekly. You can see we completed 5 waves to the ugly dump back in December. ABC correction, which started our next 5-wave impulse. Looks like we started one, working on finished one, probably finished it, honestly. Upper target's going to be $1.21 to anywhere from 169 to 194. Got our weekly invalidation marked. Moving on to the daily chart. Also 5 waves completed. ABC correction. We caught all this correction. It was a good trade for us. This is still ABC correction. I kind of think this is going to be like a double bottom. 76 and a half to 82.5 cents. I would argue we get a double bottom here, especially looking like this is all a wave 1. Maybe it's a wave 3. And it's ABC. Yeah, right in here. Possibility to go down to 70 cents. I don't think it's likely. 4 hours going to give us more information. Yeah, here we go. Finished 3 waves on the 4 hour. Moving down. Target's 83 to 80 cents. Then we'll move up to our upper targets. Somewhere around $1.01 to $1.08 before we move on up to those higher targets. We'll get some kind of correction here. Then we'll move on up. You can see 1, 2, 3. I really wanted to make this all wave 1. I still haven't ruled that out. If I did make that all wave 1, wave 3 is going to still fall in the same category. It's going to extend. We'll blow through this target and keep going. But we'll see how this winds out. With this fair value gap here, that makes me think that this is the top of wave 1 because they like to come down and retest that. It's right in the middle of the fair value gap at 81 cents. Then we move on up. Last but not least, Suey, I'll do link AVAX near fart Dogecoin tonight. At some point, I got to make these videos a little shorter. What I may do is rotate those in and out like every other day. Just it's a lot of work on me to keep up with that many charts. I spent probably 3.5 hours on the charts I've showed you last night just to get them right. So we'll look at those tomorrow or later this evening. I do want to remind you tonight, 7 p.m. Texas time, 7 or 7:30. Leisurefish and I are doing a big call in the crypto school. Answer any questions, show you how we trade, show you our targets. You have a chart you want to look at? Bring it. We'll go through it. We'll break it down, figure out what we see. It's going to be a good time. We do those a lot. We should do them more often. I get a lot out of them. Everybody gets a lot out of them. It's just a lot of fun. All right, enough of me talking. Wave 1, wave 2. Looks like we're going to work up to wave 3 here. Wave 3 usually has kind of 2 impulses. Actually, no. Can't be it because that drops that below wave 1. So here we go. 1. This is all wave 1. wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5. That's what we're looking at, guys. Same targets. Just needed to change the way the charts look. 691, 873 looks like a viable target. Like I said, these will change a little bit, and I'll adjust them as we continue to go up. But it gives you an idea. Looks like we're probably going to be out of these things still in December. Into Q4, but quarter 4 looks pretty darn bullish. SUI on the daily. ABC correction. Looks like we're starting wave 1 on the daily. Came up to the 382. That's typical for a wave 1. We'll drop down, probably back down to about 334. Could go a little lower. Then we'll head up to those upper targets, 393 to 417, on up to 485, 537. We go out on the 4 hour. Tells us a story. In that correction, basically a wave 3 on the 4 hour, working into 4. Invalidation on wave 3 is going to be somewhere around 327, 328, which falls in our box. I like this target, 334, 358, somewhere in here. That 50 smooth moving average, it looks like a really nice place to bounce. 329, then we head on up to those upper targets on the 4 hour. Let me pull this over, give you those numbers. 384, 395 would be your first stop. 426, 449. Somewhere in here, we're going to see a correction before we make the next wave up. All right, that's the charts for tonight. I want to show you one more thing. Let me pull this up. Off screen. Crypto bubbles. But I told you we were doing a class tonight. This is where we're going to do it. Crypto school. In chart this morning, in chat, everybody's trying to figure it out. I've been in this morning, we've talked about it. Delayed farm payrolls this morning. I have a concern here, but I'm not going to voice it right now. I did see that the feds can't do anything with interest rates if the government's shut down and they don't have that data. So keep that in the back of your mind. Clearly, we're in a bullish scenario, so I don't think that's really on the table. I think this is more of just a political pissing match, if you will. But that's where I stand with it, but I'm not going to get political with you. It's not my place. I have my beliefs, you have yours, and we can all get along. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Be in the voice chat tonight, doing that training update. Here's me, Coach Chris. Let this load. Like I said, all these charts are in. Gave a little thing about the troubles that I had this week, but you can see. And here's the thing. General voice chat, real time, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, so that's 7:30 Standard Time. Me and Fish, we're going to break it down. Gary makes us some cool little images. We really like those. But I'm rambling here, guys, so I'm going to start winding this thing down. But yeah, now you can see. I had an issue. I went and tried to fix it, got help, made sure I'm right. Now we're right. Now I can tell you guys with confidence where I think we're going. Listen, guys, if you're stumbling, get help. There's no shame in it. This industry or this trade is so volatile. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, guys. It's too volatile to just sit in one place and flounder. You're either A, going to get into bad trades and lose your money, or B, you're not going to trade at all and just be completely lost and frustrated. That's where I was. So back it up, break it down, go back to the fundamentals and just see where you come up with. If you're stumped and you don't have anybody, message me. I'll help you. I don't mind helping. I love helping. Leisure Fish loves to help. Coach Lewis puts great videos out every morning, and if you just follow those, man, you're going to have a good idea of where the direction's going. I watch his every morning because it just verifies what I've done, and if he's got something different, maybe I need to go back at my chart and figure out what I've missed. Reach out to him. He'll talk to you. Reach out to Fish. He'll talk to you. All those guys will talk to you. So yeah, you'll find the link to that in my description. You'll find a link to BitUnix there. You'll find a link to my X. I post a lot of random thoughts throughout the day there. So be sure and check that out and follow all those. But I've talked enough. I'm just rambling now. I'm going to shut this thing down. I'm Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I'll be around if you need anything, but I'll start rambling. I've already said enough. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy, signing off. We'll see you down the road.